Through the left-hander they go. Brian Harty still not out of this one by any manner of means, and he's going to try and make a comeback at David Hall, but certainly those years in the supercars paying off handsomely there for David Hall. Just teed him up beautifully. Further back through the field we see other battles going on. That is Michael Rice and Trevor Duffy having a frank exchange of views there. Michael Rice just getting into the side of Trevor Duffy. And this time Brian Harty and David Hall, and now they're all over the Michael Balfe like a rash, those two boys. So Michael Balfe doesn't know whether to look right or left as he's got them mobbing him there from row 2 and row 3. Michael Rice, it appears, I see him further back the field. It appears he survived that incident with Trevor Duffy. But spare a thought from Michael Balfe, your race leader there, having to defend manfully, and Pat Casey has nipped through to get himself into 4th. David Hall has a look at the outside line. Now he tries the same manoeuvre again, hooking the wheel in, but Michael Balfe was well up to it this time. And you can see Henry Davis there and Aidan Byrne having a frank exchange of views further back. And as they come back through the left-hander, it is still Michael Balfe though. This time from Brian Harty, with David Hall running in 3rd. Pat Casey doing a great job there in 4th, holding off the close attentions of a resurgent Lee Newsom. These top 5 now beginning to draw away from the rest of the field. Michael Balfe though, from Brian Harty, David Hall. It looks like Lee Newsom may well have got ahead of Pat Casey. Let's check in the next shot. No, in fact, Pat Casey still holding on to that 4th place. Lee Newsom running in 5th. They're just like ducklings now, nose to tail as they come around. And certainly what a wonderful defensive job being done by Michael Balfe up in front. You feel that he hasn't quite got the legs of Brian Harty or indeed David Hall behind him. But nonetheless, he's really putting his car in exactly the right spot on every corner. Just watch him come through here. He really is defending that, and coming through from behind now into 6th place is Robbie Parks, the number 9 car further back there. All streaming away then out the country. Loads of other battles happening further back through the field. That's Christopher McCabe. That's the young man that we met at the interview earlier on. He's a nephew of Brian Harty, who's battling up here at the head of the field, and I bet nephew Christopher would like to get to the sharp end of the grid sooner rather than later. Number 9 coming through there in the background. At the back of this group is Robbie Parks, and now you've got a 7-way battle for the lead, being led by Michael Balfe. Brian Harty next, David Hall running in 3rd, Pat Casey is 4th, Lee Newsom is 5th, and they come up to take the checker flag. Michael Balfe takes the win by a goodly margin in the end for Brian Harty, who comes home at 2nd with David Hall 3rd.
Michael Balfe, 1st place, congratulations. Did you have a tough time trying to keep Brian behind you?
Yeah, it was tough. It's always tough trying to keep Brian behind you, you know.
But well done, you came 1st. And how did you find the conditions today?
It was just a little bit slippy at the beginning. I got a lot of wheel spin off the line, and Brian got ahead of me, but I got him again into the 4th corner. So when I got ahead of him, then I stayed ahead then.
The result of the Formula Sheane race: Michael Balfe the winner, Brian Harty 2nd, and David Hall 3rd.
Premier Series in association with Dunboyne Castle, Dalco and Urban Images.
Welcome back. I'm here with Anton Savage. Anton, how's the championship going for you so far?
It was going okay till you guys arrived with the cameras. As soon as you get within about 60 miles of Mondello, my luck gets on a bike and goes
Excuses.
home. Well, it seems to always overlap with you guys arriving down. I'm sure there's big technical, mechanical and electrical reasons as to why things go wrong, but I think it's you and the microphone.
Tell us a little bit about your car today.
Had a bit of a problem in qualifying with connection to the battery cable. The lead to the battery cable broke, which put me down the grid, and working my way up, myself and Gary Newsom got closer together than we ideally should.
So the man of experience is leading the championship in Formula Sheane at the moment. That's Brian Harty in car number 3. He's won 80 races at Mondello Park between Formula V's and Formula Sheane. Let's see if he can make it 81 today.
Brian, you're currently championship leader. How did you get on today in qualifying?
Not too bad. I qualified second on the grid today. There's only about 300 separating the pole man from myself, so I'm happy enough with that. Wet race, hopefully anyone can be there. So just take the pot luck.
Yeah, the conditions are really bad here in Mondello. Does that affect your driving?
Oh, it does. It slows your lap down by about, I'd say you're about 10 seconds a lap slower once it's conditions like that.
5-second board is up for Formula Shane's at Mondello Park. Watch out for the lights. We're on board now with David Hall in the SLS car in the second row of the grid. The red lights are on. As soon as they're out, it's time to go. Mihal Balfour is on pole position. He's been going very well in this last lane. A lot of smoke there from Anton Savage mid-grid. He won't be used to starting back there. Hardy on the outside now, Balfour on the inside, but Balfour does it all right. Just gets a little bit out of shape. Hardy going a bit wide. That's young Newsom got around. A lot of cars involved there. Gone off on the outside the end of the first lap, but Balfour is leading. It looks like Stephen Drury up to second place. Then it's Hardy, David Hall, Liam Murphy. All the rest come streaming through. On board now with Hall. Lost out a little bit in the first lap. He'll have to push very hard to close that gap. You can see Hardy's car drifting around there. He won't be happy with having been bumped back a place by young Stephen Drury. And again, Hall lucky not to go off the track there. That stream of water we saw earlier really affecting these cars. As we said, that corner flat out normally. Not so when there's a stream of water across the track. Here he comes out of Dunlop corner now. A little bit of ground lost for him that time round. He'll have to work very hard. Hand in the air. Looks like we've got a safety car. Indeed we have. The Mondello Park safety car out on track just to clear the wreckage from the first corner. A lot of cars there, and the marshals and the rescue crew doing a great job as ever just removing these cars from the track. Lights off now on the safety car. That means we're going racing again. Safety car pulls back in up to the leader when he wants to go back to racing speed. No overtaking before the start finish line, but Balfour's done it to perfection. He's got the jump on everybody else, and Stephen Drury dropped back just slightly there, so good move from Balfour when the safety car pulled back in. Hardy and Hall still absolutely together in this battle for third place. Slippery surface flag out there telling us that there is possibly a little bit of oil from that shunt on the outside of the track. But Mihal Balfour doing very well. Liam Murphy right in the middle of that one, no nose cone. There's Trevor Duffy, one of the stars of this class. He's right at the back in the black car, the Jared Stafford Plantar car, so watch out for him in the latter stages. Hall now right up behind Brian Hardy. Hall, of course, having taken on a new mechanic, young Emma Dempsey now engineering this car. Cliff Dempsey's daughter. She's obviously as good at setting up cars as her father is, because Hall all of a sudden right back at the front of the grids and much happier with the car. He's pulling fourth gear now, heading up towards the S. He's going to have a look around the outside of Brian Hardy. Won't really be on, but what he needs to do is just move around, try and unsettle Brian Hardy. Very hard thing to do. Spoke about how experienced Brian Hardy is earlier. Hall goes to the inside, back to the outside, but you can see Hardy just holds the centre of the road on the way up there to Dunlop corner, as he's done many times before. Mihal Balfour is doing all the leading at the moment. This is where the battle is now. Hardy doesn't look ruffled at all. In fact, Hall moving around an awful lot, almost missing his breaking point. Stephen Drury, a new name to us, hasn't done much car racing. Experienced Carter moved up into Formula Shane this year, and these cars certainly suit him, making a great name for himself. He's ahead of a lot more experienced guys. Hall almost goes round the outside of Brian Hardy at turn 3. That's a brave move in dry conditions. It's an incredible move in wet conditions, and he almost made it stick, but not quite. Hardy did just enough to hang on to it. So Hall really pushing hard in the early stages of this one. But it's Mihal Balfour now, Stephen Drury right with him. Hardy now having closed on. It's a 4-car battle now for the lead, but Drury really putting a push on very hard, right out onto the curbs. You can see him harassing the leader. Good run out of the S's there by Hardy. Hall goes to the outside to try and get a better run out of Dunlop corner onto the main straight, and he's closed right up. In fact, he's right with Hardy this time under the gearbox of that car. The engine's exactly equal in all these cars. Rover engines sealed by David Sheane, and very little work done to them, but these cars can lap Mondello in 57 seconds. Very quick cars, all built in Ireland, remember. And Drury, a big bid down the inside. Unfortunately, next one's a left-hander. He's not going to make it, but certainly making Mihal Balfour work very hard for this one. So Stephen Drury going very well there, number 26, and Brian Hardy just looking for an opportunity. That's another man should be at the front, number 9, the red car with no nose. That's Robbie Parks, usually runs right at the front, obviously having a fraud day in the midfield. Speaking of fraud days, it's still all happening up front. Hardy clambering over the curb, but a better run this time for Hall. Goes to the inside. Hardy sees it coming and defends. Hall back to the outside. These two racers really having a go at each other. Again, a later apex for Hall. It should mean he's quicker out. Indeed he is, but Hardy giving them the minimum room. Now they're side by side. This is good stuff by Hall. Don't bother looking over to the right hand side. Look straight ahead. Not much in it there. Hardy's still ahead. Hall will have to go in very deep on the brakes. He's going to make this one work. He's alongside, but Hardy goes in just as deep, matches him inch for inch, and a great battle between these two. So Brian Hardy having to defend and still hang on to the leaders. Michal Balfe will be happy to see a battle in his mirrors because he'll want to get away, but Stephen Drury just hanging on to the back of him. There's the man we're speaking about.